Good evening. This is All India Radio and I'm Anuja Kumar with the news at 9. The headlines. Supreme Court declares Centre's flagship Aadhaar scheme as constitutionally valid, bars private entities from seeking Aadhaar data. Aadhaar mandatory for allotment of PAN, filing income tax returns and availing of government subsidies, not required for school admissions, bank accounts and mobile phone connections. Apex Court declines to refer its 2006 verdict on quotas in promotions for SC/ST to a 7-judge bench. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assures central assistance to rain-affected states of Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. CCEA approves comprehensive policy to deal with excess sugar production in the country. Union Cabinet clears proposal to convert Goods and Services Tax Network into a government-owned company. Also approves National Digital Communication Policy 2018. And in Asia Cup cricket, Bangladesh set a victory target of 240 runs for Pakistan in third and final Super 4 ODI encounter at Abu Dhabi. The Supreme Court today declared the Centre's flagship Aadhaar scheme as constitutionally valid. The Apex Court, however, struck down some of its provisions, including its linking with bank accounts, mobile phones and school admissions. A 5-judge constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra held that Aadhaar would remain mandatory for filing of IT returns and allotment of permanent account number PAN. But it would not be mandatory to link Aadhaar to bank accounts, and also telecom service providers cannot seek its linking for mobile connections. Aadhaar would not be mandatory for school admissions, as also for the examinations conducted by the Central Board of Secondary Examination, National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test for Medical Entrance, and the University Grants Commission. The bench struck down the national security exception under the Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial and Other Subsidies, Benefits and Services Act. It said Aadhaar is meant to help the benefits reach the marginalized sections of the society and takes into account the dignity of people not only from personal but also community point of view. The top court said Aadhaar is serving much bigger public interest. 3 sets of judgments were pronounced on the issue. The first one was pronounced by Justice A.K. Sikri, who wrote the judgment for himself, the CJI, and Justice A.M. Khanwilkar. Justice Chandrachud and Justice A. Bhushan, who are also part of the bench, have written their individual opinions. While Justice Chandrachud said he was expressing certain views different from that of the judgment of the 3 judges, Justice Bhushan said he concurred with the views of the majority. Justice Sikri struck down Section 57 of Aadhaar Act, permitting private entities to avail Aadhaar data, and ruled that Aadhaar authentication data cannot be stored for more than 6 months. The bench also said there was nothing in the Aadhaar Act that violates the right to privacy of an individual. Ruling that Aadhaar authentication data cannot be stored for more than 6 months, it directed the government not to give Aadhaar to illegal immigrants. The verdict was pronounced on a batch of pleas challenging the constitutional validity of Aadhaar scheme and its enabling 2016 law. Talking to AIR, senior legal expert Surat Singh termed the Apex Court's verdict as a welcome decision.
Regarding the Aadhaar card, Supreme Court has struck a right balance between right to live with human dignity and privacy on the one hand and the legitimate interest of the state to make sure that the government services reach to the right people and that there is no corruption in the process. So it's a welcome decision. Both the interest of individual as well as necessity of the state have been taken into account.
The BJP and the Congress have welcomed the decision of the Supreme Court on Aadhaar. Speaking to media in New Delhi, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has termed the Supreme Court judgment on Aadhaar as historic.
It's a historic judgment, and the whole concept of the unique identity number that has been accepted after a judicial review is an extremely welcome decision.
Mr. Jaitley said till now 122 crore people have Aadhaar cards and the government was able to save more than 90,000 crore rupees through Aadhaar. Welcoming the Supreme Court's decision to strike down Section 57 of the Aadhaar Act, the Congress Party said private entities are no longer allowed to use Aadhaar for verification purposes. In a tweet, party spokesperson Randeep Singh Surjewala said the Supreme Court's verdict upholds the individual's right to privacy. In another decision today, the Supreme Court said its 2006 verdict putting conditions for granting benefits of quotas in job promotions for SC/ST employees need not be referred to a 7-judge bench. The Apex Court also turned down the centre's plea that overall population of SC/ST be considered for granting quota for them. More from our correspondent.
The unanimous judgment was pronounced by a 5-judge constitution bench headed by Chief Justice Deepak Mishra. The court said states need not collect quantifiable data on backwardness of SC/ST for giving quota in job promotion to SC/ST employees. The court's verdict came on petitions seeking that a 7-judge bench reconsiders the court's 2006 judgment, which had put conditions for granting quota benefits in job promotions for SC/ST employees. Attorney General K.K. Venugopal, appearing for the centre, had strongly argued in favour of granting quota to SC/ST employees, saying there was a presumption of backwardness in their favour. Sheila, AI News, Delhi.
We spoke to a senior legal expert, Amit Khemka, about the judgment.
Supreme Court has probably gone ahead and said that there is absolutely no need for Nagaraj judgment to be reconsidered by a larger bench. And I think it is in the fitness, because once a person has been given the reservation at the initial stage, it is not required to give at every stage or in promotion.
The Apex Court today agreed to allow live streaming and video recording of court proceedings, observing that sunlight is the best disinfectant. It said live streaming of court proceedings will effectuate the public right to know and bring in more transparency in judicial proceedings. The verdict was passed on a batch of petitions, including those filed by senior advocate Indira Jaisingh. The Apex Court said that necessary rules for balancing rights of public and protecting dignity of litigants will be placed soon. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today spoke to Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jai Ram Thakur and Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh regarding the flood situation in the states. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he assured them of all possible central support in mitigating the situation arising due to heavy rain and flood. Meanwhile, in Himachal Pradesh, more than 650 people stranded in various parts of Lahaul-Spiti district have been evacuated after recent snowfall. 2 IAF helicopters continuously airlifted people stranded in various areas, including Koksar and Baralacha. According to disaster management, most of the roads in the state have been reopened for vehicular movement after being blocked following recent rain. The Prime Minister today chaired his 29th interaction through Pragati, the ICT-based multimodal platform for proactive governance and timely implementation. Mr. Modi reviewed the progress in resolution of grievances related to the telecommunications sector. He was briefed on the progress made in this regard, including the technology interventions made recently. The Prime Minister said resolution of issues related to the telecom sector should be based on latest technological solutions. He emphasized that service providers must provide a high level of consumer satisfaction. He reviewed the progress of 8 important infrastructure projects in the railway, urban development, road, power and coal sectors. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, CCEA, has approved comprehensive policy to deal with excess sugar production in the country. Briefing media in New Delhi today, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley said the measures involve total assistance of over 5,500 crore rupees to support the sugar sector by way of offsetting cost of cane.
To provide assistance to sugar mills at rupees 13.88 per quintal of cane crushed in the sugar season 2018-19 to be offset the cost of cane itself. The assistance shall be provided only to those mills which fulfill the conditions stipulated by the Department of Food and Public Distribution. और इसके लिए जो financial assistance total होगी rupees 5,538 crores itself.
Mr. Jaitley said the total expenditure on this account would be about 4,163 crore, which will be borne by the government. He said these measures will facilitate export of sugar from the country, thereby improving liquidity of the industry, enabling them to clear cane price arrears of farmers. Apart from this, the centre will provide assistance to mills by compensating expenditure towards internal transport, freight, handling and other charges to facilitate export during the sugar season 2018-19. The Finance Minister said the Union Cabinet has also cleared a proposal to convert Goods and Services Tax Network GSTN into a government-owned company. It approved increasing the government ownership in Goods and Services Tax Network and change in the existing structure with transitional plan. There will be acquisition of entire 51% equity held by the non-government institutions in GSTN, equally by the centre and the state governments, and allow GSTN board to initiate the process for acquisition of equity held by the private companies. Currently, the centre and states together hold 49% stake in the GST network, the company that provides IT backbone to the new indirect tax regime. The remaining 51% is held by 5 private financial institutions. The restructured GSTN with 100% government ownership shall have equity structure between the centre's 50% and the state's 50%. The Cabinet has approved the National Digital Communication Policy 2018. The policy aims to provide universal broadband connectivity at 50 megabit per second to every citizen. It will also provide 1 Gbps connectivity to all Gram Panchayats by 2020 and 10 Gbps by 2022. This estimated speed is much faster than the present speed being provided to Gram Panchayats and will enable fast internet surfing and download of data. Briefing reporters after the Cabinet meeting, Communications Minister Manoj Sinha said this will create 40 lakh additional jobs in the digital communications sector.
ब्रॉडबैंड टू ऑल, सबको ब्रॉडबैंड की सुविधा हो। 40 लाख नए रोजगार इस देश में इस नीति के माध्यम से पैदा होंगे। जीडीपी में टेलीकॉम सेक्टर का जो योगदान है अभी तक 6% मोटे तौर पर रहा है। इस नई पॉलिसी के कारण हम अनुमान कर रहे हैं कि 8% योगदान होगा।
The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs has approved the construction of new domestic terminal building and other allied structures at Patna Airport at an estimated cost of over 1,216 crore rupees. BJP President Amit Shah has claimed the party will win elections in all 5 states going to polls in near future. He was addressing BJP's Shakti Kendra workers at Dhanakya village near Jaipur today. Mr. Shah said BJP will again form government under the leadership of Narendra Modi in 2019 with a thumping majority. Earlier, the BJP president inaugurated the Deen Dayal National Panorama at Dhanakya village near Jaipur. Mr. Shah also unveiled the 15-feet statue of Pandit Upadhyay. Parakram Parv will be celebrated from this Friday to Sunday to showcase the courage, valor and sacrifice of Indian Armed Forces. The main event is planned at India Gate Lawns, Rajpath in New Delhi, and similarly, 53 locations in 51 cities across the country will be showcasing the events, highlighting valor of Indian Armed Forces in general and Special Forces in particular. On 28th of September, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will visit India Gate Lawns to commemorate the inauguration of Parakram Parv. In the Asia Cup cricket, Bangladesh have set a victory target of 240 runs for Pakistan in the third and final Super 4 ODI encounter now underway at Abu Dhabi. Earlier, electing to bat first, Bangladesh were all out for 239 in 48.5 overs. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Supreme Court declares Centre's flagship Aadhaar scheme as constitutionally valid, bars private entities from seeking Aadhaar data. Aadhaar mandatory for allotment of PAN, filing income tax returns and availing of government subsidies. Not required for school admissions, bank accounts and mobile phone connections. Apex Court declines to refer its 2006 verdict on quotas and promotions for SC/ST to a 7-judge bench. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assures central assistance to rain-affected states of Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. CCEA approves comprehensive policy to deal with excess sugar production in the country. Union Cabinet clears proposal to convert Goods and Services Tax Network into a government-owned company. And Bangladesh set a victory target of 240 runs for Pakistan. And that is all in the news at 9. Good night.